I am here today with Miss Alexi Turner. It is so good to meet you in person.
Yes, so nice to meet you.
I'm so excited that you decided to be a part of Creators Weekly, so thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I was hoping that you can kind of tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do, because I know why I followed you as a creator, and I kind of want to hear from you what you consider yourself as.
So I consider myself a Renaissance woman, which was actually what the name of my channel was when I first started. Now I am Celestial Empress.
I love it.
And I would say I'm a little bit of different things. I went to New York City for fashion school. I love fashion, and I buy and resell vintage fashion clothing. Okay. And I'm also an astrologer. I love astrology as well. Okay. I'm a singer, songwriter, and I also teach women how to be more feminine, which I love. And I teach women how to heal traumas, heal different things that they've gone through, attract more money, attract more opportunity, and also interact with men properly, because a lot of times I think these days that we're in this whole feminist movement that women are very masculine, and then they end up being single in 30s and 40s, and they call me for readings and stuff, and it's not so much about the reading that I thought was important. It was more so like, why are you creating this to begin with? I could, of course, read cards on you, but if you have a karma, which is thoughts, deeds, and actions of how to behave in a certain way, you could have a great opportunity come your way, but if you don't believe you deserve it, you're going to sabotage it. Now, I can psychically read something could happen to you, but if you don't have the tools to actually carry it out and build it properly, you're going to constantly create the same mistakes over and over again. So I started to kind of see, I wasn't as fulfilled being a reader because I wanted to help people to transform the things that were making them suffer more than this is your future, bye.
Yeah,
kind of
exactly.
Thing. Yeah.
Okay. So would it be safe to say that you call that teaching people how to manifest things into reality?
Yeah, manifesting is a good word to use for that, but more so than anything, I teach people how to transform their lives.
Okay.
Because we can manifest anything, right? I've manifested $30,000 in a day, but if I don't know how to manage money, I'll lose it in a day, and then I'm back to zero. So a lot of people are like, I want to manifest a husband. Well, you can manifest a husband, but if you don't know how to treat a man, if you don't know how to be a woman in a relationship, if you don't know how to be in a relationship, you'll get divorced.
That is probably what people lack. So that is really good that you're bringing that to light and bringing a fresh new perspective on the world around us as we know it.
Yes,
so
yes,
because
we're in this whole feminist movement, which is great. Of course, we should have equality of opportunity. We should have equality of way of life. But I think a lot of times women victimize themselves and they don't have the confidence, because actually women have so much power that they don't even realize, and then they fall victim to their circumstances, not knowing that they were actually subconsciously the creator of it.
That is 100% something I've seen in myself too. So I'm navigating through that, and I guess I didn't know exactly what to call it. So that's cool. I found you very interesting. I actually found you on YouTube. I was following a creator, and you happened to be on her channel, and that was really cool. And I got to see you in a different light. I got to witness some of your singing. I did see that are you an actress?
Yes, I do acting. I used to do TV hosting. I was actually part of a women's empowerment TV show 10 years ago.
That is so cool.
And that's how I kind of got into this journey. And so I do acting and singing, yes.
Okay, so taking it back, you've been doing, at least kind of getting into this field for the last 10 years. It's just been around you, people that you've been introduced with, and have you traveled? I know that you've traveled between New York and here.
Yes.
So I've
worked for a few different celebrities.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm allowed to name them because I've signed NDA agreements, but I'm sure. I mean, I have mentioned on my channel a few times. I worked for a pop star. I ran her organization, her empowerment organization for youth, which was...
That is so cool.
Yeah, so it's focusing on emotional intelligence in schools for the youth, and we worked with the Yale Emotional Intelligence Program and helping to implement this in schools. And I helped to manage and orchestrate 2 of her world tours, and I worked for another artist doing the same thing. And so in astrology, my past life, my past node was in my 11th house. So my past life was about supporting others, helping other people, powerful people. And a lot of times we come into our lifetime and we act out of our south node, our past life, until we can grow into our north node, our future, our destiny. So my destiny is in my 5th house, which is about performing and being on stage. So it was interesting because I've been in the entertainment world behind the scenes, being more of a builder of things. And now I'm kind of striking out on my own to live out my destiny as a performer.
I did want to touch on, if you have, struggled in the past creatively or on your journey, what are some keys that have helped you kind of get through those things?
So this is a really interesting question because I'm performing for several hundred people tomorrow, and thank you. And I performed for 50,000 youth last year at this festival for standing up for the justice and respect of life. And I have horrible stage fright, horrible. And I spoke to my friend this morning who's a prima ballerina, and I was telling her, I was like, maybe I'm just not meant to perform. I get so scared before I get on stage, and I just don't know if I want to do it. And I thought about canceling, and she was like, that Henry Fonda used to throw up before he would get on stage and before he would film things. And Mikhail Baryshnikov, one of the most amazing ballerinas of all time, had the same thing. Kelsey Kirkland, a lot of performers have crazy stage fright. Even Barbra Streisand had really bad stage fright. And
that's really interesting.
I think honestly the only key of getting through this is just doing it.
Yeah.
I've practiced Buddhism, I chant, I do a lot of hypnosis work, I do a lot of work on healing things and my subconscious programming, and I think really the key to life is just taking action.
I love that.
So I think the only way you can really get over the fear of performing and my struggle, which is the fear of performing, is just by going out there and doing it, which is really hard because singing is so intricate, because your nerves have to be
settled. You have to be
settled.
in a calm state.
You have to be calm, collected. If you're nervous, your voice will mess up.
So true.
It's very psychological. People don't realize that music and singing is very psychological, and it's in your body. So I think my biggest struggle through life has been singing, to be honest.
Okay.
And showing my power. My voice coach used to say I was afraid of the power of my voice because I was taught to be a lady when I was young. Don't be so loud. Be a lady. Be nice. And I have this big voice, so I hide from it sometimes.
Yeah.
So being a creator has been a big struggle, but I think it's a part of my human revolution. So we're built into these struggles, specific struggles, because it's our destiny to overcome these things and to inspire people through our stories. So I try not to look at struggles as a negative thing. I look at it as I'm being presented this so I can help other people to transform it.
I love that. That is what I'm hoping that this series, Creators Weekly, does, because I think it's important to also encourage each other on our creative journeys, because I think a lot of people do struggle with similar, maybe not necessarily stage fright, but they all have their own struggle. And I think if we hear it from other people who we are inspired by, it just kind of helps everyone learn to take ownership of themselves and just do it.
Yes. One thing too that I learned from being in the performing arts is a lot of people, I used to perform with a girl who was a rockette, and she used to, in our groups, we would go through our different fears and problems, and she suffered with imposter syndrome. It was the first time I had been aware of what this is.
I think you're going to teach me something right now.
Yes. So imposter syndrome is when you have maybe a natural skill and ability, a natural talent, but maybe you didn't go to school forever for it, or maybe you didn't pay your dues for it, or let's say you get like overnight success and you feel like an imposter because you don't feel like you're ready, or you don't feel like you deserve it, or you're not talented enough.
Like you're faking it till you make it.
Yes,
that saying.
Yes, but a lot of people, when they even make it, they still feel fake. I remember Lady Gaga had a documentary that came out where she even talked about that she just now feels like she deserves her success.
Oh my gosh.
So I think
the one last year.
Yes, 5'2".
Yes. Oh my gosh, I did see that. Okay.
Yeah. So a lot of people they feel this way. They feel like even when they make it, they don't deserve it, and they sabotage. A lot of people sabotage.
Yeah.
So even if you don't maybe deal with stage fright and stuff, a lot of performers especially deal with imposter syndrome, that they don't actually believe that they're capable or they're the chosen one to actually be in the spotlight.
You know, talking about imposter syndrome, if I'm saying that correctly, it kind of reminds me of social media in an aspect, because I want to touch on a difference maybe that you have seen from 10 years ago where social media was and where social media now is, and how it possibly has either helped you grow as a creative or hurt you as a creative. Because I know sometimes myself, when I'm looking at other people's success, I'm so happy for people, but at the same time, when you don't necessarily see the numbers rolling in on your own, not that that's the reason we do it, but it can put a little damper in your parade. And I like to touch on that and see where your mind is as far as social media.
So social media is a little bit of both. I think, because when you go to castings nowadays, they actually, in the sign-up sheet nowadays, they ask you how many followers you have on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and a lot of times they cast people not because of their talent, their looks, whatever. They're like, oh, she's got 50,000 followers. That's free advertising. So if I hire this person to do this role or this commercial or this print ad, they'll advertise it and they have all these followers.
That is so true.
So in some ways, there's a lot of disadvantage for people who don't know how to use social media or who can't build a following or don't have the marketing or don't have the skills to do it. Because social media it's a skill, right? It's an algorithm. It's a difficult code to crack.
Absolutely.
And so sometimes I feel like it kind of puts certain people at a disadvantage because people who are so talented don't get roles because they don't have the same following.
Agreed. And that goes back to having the raw talent, but then that imposter syndrome as well, because you don't know how to market yourself, and so you're losing in one sense, and then it makes you maybe feel that you're not validated as an actor or an actress or a singer or whatever the case is.
Right, and then when you make a video, and let's say you get 100 hits on a video, and you're constantly creating and no one's following and stuff, it can make you feel like, well, maybe my voice doesn't matter.
Exactly.
Maybe nobody cares what I have to say. Maybe this isn't my destiny. And it can deter you from that. And also, of course, we know people leave mean comments and are hateful and online bullying. Yeah. And we didn't have that back in the day. So back in the day, you put out a commercial and that was congratulations from your friends, but now it's like people can slander you constantly and it really eats at you, or it can if you're not a strong, solid person. And then I think a lot of times people succumb to plastic surgery. They try to externally fix things instead of fill the hole in their heart or the hole inside. And they think that, oh, it's just the way I look or these kinds of things, and then it really breeds an image and this lack of confidence that people have that they're always striving for. And then they see these images of these women and
perfectly airbrushed,
and then they're
very important to say that part.
Yes. And then let's say you start dating a guy and all he's following are these women who are, and then you're like,
that's also a hot topic as far as like relationship balances and who they follow and things like that. And I feel like we didn't have that back then because it wasn't so accessible. So I feel like in a lot of ways it's also damaging to relationships in a sense. And it's hard to find that balance, you know, because it is also a great way to market. So it's like, where's the balance of it?
I know for me, when I wrote down the qualities I wanted in a man, I said I do not want him using social media. That was one of the things.
That is fair. How long ago was that?
Oh gosh, when I made that list a couple months ago, a few months ago.
See, I like that. I think I would probably, if I had to write that down on a new list, have a man. But if I had a new list, I would probably put that on there because I've seen what it can do. And as silly as social media people say it is, we really do kind of value ourselves in a way because of it.
Right.
So, no, I agree.
I did meet a man who doesn't use social media.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So that was a big plus for me. Yeah, because I think I think social media it's like this weird double-edged sword, because there are times where I know I need to be posting more and engaging more, and it's exhausting sometimes. And sometimes I don't want to talk about my personal life. Sometimes I don't want to engage on social media, and when I don't, I lose followers, my business suffers, and I think it's a lot of pressure because back in the day when you were building a business, it was just building a business. Now it's having an Instagram, having a Twitter, having a Facebook.
It's like building a second business just for the advertising part of it.
Having a LinkedIn, having all of these, a YouTube channel, and it's so much to keep up with that. It's overwhelming, and I think when you have so much going on, it's hard to focus on what your goal is because you have all of these things you have to.
I agree.
work through too.
I agree.
Yeah.
I wanted to also touch, so we don't have you here all day. I'm so sorry. I don't want to keep you.
No, I love this.
I do too. And I'm thinking maybe we should collab for your channel, let you do a reading or something.
Absolutely. I would love to do that. No, I would.
I would really do.
Yeah, let's do it.
Sounds good. I want to know something. Now that we talked about kind of struggles that you've had, I want to talk about something that you've been most proud of your career or you as a growth as a person, something that you feel is a great accomplishment.
For me, I think that when I moved to New York City, I grew up in Arkansas. Okay. I moved from North Carolina. I didn't know anybody. I went to college with people who were related to Ralph Lauren and Oscar de la Renta, and I felt like such a disadvantage. And I was very shy and unsure of myself. And I started practicing Buddhism, and I started to do my human revolution, is what we call it, and working on my inner self. And I started to build such unshakable confidence that I started attracting amazing opportunities. I've been able to work with United Nations ambassadors, celebrities, world leaders, and not only attract these opportunities, but know that I'm capable of actually doing it.
And you have a worth that they need
yes,
as well.
Yes,
I love that.
And I can go on a date, or I can meet with people like you, and I can do these things and feel so sure of myself and know who I am. And I think that's probably my biggest accomplishment, because I think when you have that kind of confidence, nothing can stop you, right? You can do anything because you know yourself. Yes. And I feel like for the first time in my life, I know who I am. I know what I'm weak with. I know what I'm strong with.
You're very self-aware. That's important.
Very self-aware. And because of that, I don't make bad decisions in life like I used to, right? Like choosing the wrong partners or settling in jobs, or, my first job in college, I worked for, my first paid job, I worked for a fashion company doing sales in a wholesale clothing company. We did private labeling for Lord & Taylor, White House Black Market, these companies. And I was terrified of calling people and making a sale, terrified of getting on the phone with somebody. Now I can talk to anybody. Right. And I don't have a problem. So
that's great.
To me, I think that's my biggest accomplishment, is that I feel so comfortable.
That's awesome. Yeah. No, I love that you chose that as what you wanted to talk about, because I really like touching on mental health and trying to help people grow and learn their worth as a person, because we all have different things that we're here to share in this world, and I feel like we can all learn from each other and grow together. So you saying all that and talking about your inner growth, more about an accomplishment as far as materialistic wise, that is beautiful and something that I love.
Thank you. Thank you. I've had the material possessions, I've had the money, but it's not satisfying if you're insecure and unhappy.
That's
right?
So true.
I've had the amazing apartment on Fifth Avenue overlooking the Metropolitan, but those things are so what's the word?
I don't want to say empty. That's not the word.
It's not empty, because I love luxury. I think it's great
because I like shopping.
I think there's nothing wrong with wanting to have beautiful things. I think we should strive for beautiful things, and I absolutely would choose to have an apartment like that versus a gross, whatever. Right? I mean, come on. So I think I'm not going to sit here and say money doesn't make you happy. It does. Right. I'm sorry. I've been rich and I've been poor, and everybody would say being rich is better.
Oh yeah.
Because we're supposed to thrive in life. We're supposed to be successful, but that's not the pinnacle of life. Is by living out your purpose or living out what you're truly naturally good with, right? Not working up the corporate ladder just to get to the end, because then you're empty, right? So
where do you go from there?
If
you're at the top, where do you go?
Yeah.
No, I agree. I think that's awesome.
What is something that you feel like you've overcome?
Definitely still working through it, I think, but I think mine is very similar, actually. Learning the confidence within myself and learning that I am worth it. So I learned that throughout my careers, I have been able to be successful because I realized that it's an exchange of energy. Even if it's an employer, they need you just as much as you need them if you're a quality worker. So I think learning my own worth in my career has definitely been an accomplishment for me. Yeah, and not being afraid, like we had talked about earlier, for asking for that equal raise, because I think if you're doing a job that's worth it, you give your worth, you know? You're not too expensive until someone tells you you're too expensive. And that's kind of the motto that I'm trying to live by right now. So.
My sexologist I learned from, she's always like, you're an expensive woman. You should ask for what you want, you know? And Mika Brzezinski wrote a book many years ago, maybe 10 years ago, and she spoke about how she's on the Morning Joe, how she got paid a tiny fraction of what Joe Scarsborough got paid, but she realized it was because she didn't ask for more. And I know women who actually get paid more than their male counterparts because they asked for it. So a lot of times women have this victim mentality that they feel that they're in a disadvantage, but it's actually because they lack the confidence to actually ask for what they want. And that's the problem, because if you go into an employer's office, they're not going to give you $1 million just, I want to pay you this $1 million. Okay. They're going to give you the bare minimum of what they feel like they can get away with, because they want somebody, you know, they want somebody who has worth. But if you're not going to ask for your worth, if I can get away with paying you peanuts,
less, of course, then they're going to do it.
They're going to do it. But if you say, no, my worth is, I should get paid $1 million for this, and I'll tell you why, because I can bring this, this, and this, they're going to be happier to pay you that money because they're going to know you can execute it to expand their company than to hire somebody who's insecure and settling for nothing.
It is crazy that we mentioned this right now, because impromptu, I had an interview that I did not ask for this morning. Someone reached out to me and I thought, hey, I'll go check it out, you know. So I went and I did. I stood my ground, and they offered me something, and I said, I won't be able to take this position. It sounds great unless you can match this and vice, whatever my conditions were. And now they're counter offering, and it's like, see, when you do come with confidence, you can always meet in the middle. So I always say, try to shoot a little higher and go from there, you know?
Right. Yeah. I've met with several investors. I actually just met with an investor right before we met here at the Waldorf. And I've learned on how to negotiate with men and how to go into a negotiation, because men do business very different than women, because we're different animals. Right? So you have to know your worth, and you have to believe it. Because if you don't believe it, they're not going to believe it. If you're crying wolf saying, well, I'm not getting paid, well, maybe you don't believe you deserve it, and you have to work. And that's another thing about manifesting, right? We're in this culture of you can manifest anything, but if your belief system is not there, you're not going to do it. But also, we're in this law of attraction culture, so I'm still kind of confused why people play the victim mentality, because a lot of people who play victim are also like, oh, law of attraction. Well, those two, doesn't make any sense.
That's so true. I also wanted to ask you, do you have anything that you would like to tell the people about coming up so we can support you as well? Because I want to make sure they know where they can find you on social media, and if you have anything coming up in the next couple months.
So I'm actually working on a course for women, and this is all about how to fully tap into your femininity, how to be a feminine woman, how to know your worth, also healing traumas, healing different, because we have these subconscious beliefs, and it's like an onion. Knowing yourself is like unpeeling an onion, and I learned this in acting school. It's like you peel off one layer and then you have more and more and more. So I want to help women to know how to be in a relationship in an empowering way, and a lot of women are too masculine in relationships and actually push men away, not knowing what they're doing wrong, because women think that they need to be this hero. I've done this and I've accomplished this, but men need to be heroes. They want to feel like a king in your eyes, right? And I started realizing over the past many years, I had so many female clients come to me, I'm successful, I'm attractive, I'm single, what's wrong with me? Or why can't I attract a good man? And I'm like, because you're too masculine. And a lot of women are very resistant to wanting to change. Well, a man should change for me. Well, men are the way they are. So women, I feel like they've come so far away from our natural inherent beauty, our natural inherent like treasures. Like, women are amazing.
We
like,
really are different creatures.
Yeah.
I always have said that.
Yeah.
We just are. We think different. We were talking about the nurture versus nature. We were talking about all of that. We really are different creatures.
But women want to be like men, and they don't realize why they're so unhappy, because they're not embodying their amazing gifts as a woman, because they're trying to be like a man, and we're not men. So there's so many discords in relationships, and there's so many women. There's actually a study that was done that I believe 1 out of 3 women has to do IVF treatment to get pregnant, because they have so much masculine energy they can't actually get pregnant. And a lot of women have never actually even had an orgasm before, because she's not in tune with her body. So there's all these issues here of how we were raised by society of being this like fight like a girl, but that's not, we're not men. So I started studying with a sexologist, and over just the course of the past 10 years of just interacting with powerful men in New York City, interviewing men who are married, interviewing single men, all kinds of men, just picking their brains. I've done a lot of research on relationships, and I feel like I finally found the key system, right, of helping women. And I've had so much success within my own life, within my friends' lives. And for me, I attract so many men, and I'm not saying this to boast, but my friends are like, how do you do it? How do you attract all these men? And I tell them, you know, my secrets.
Yes.
And a lot of times they can be a little bit resistant to it, but then when they start utilizing it, I had a friend of mine who had not attracted any opportunity, because sex, relationships, and money are all a part of the same chakra. So the sacral chakra is about money and sex, right? So if a woman is not in tune with her sacral energy or feminine energy, she's not going to attract abundance. She's not going to attract opportunities or men. So she didn't have any opportunities. She'd been a virgin. She didn't have any males. Beautiful girl, a dancer, you know, all these beautiful things. And I started working with her in this workshop, and she ended up attracting so many amazing opportunities, the most amazing successful man who like adores her. Like, her whole life changed because of my program. And so this is something that I've been really passionate about, and that I'm going to bring to my customers and my clients in August.
Where can they find it when it is? Is it gonna have, you're gonna have your website?
I have a website.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, so my website is alexiturner.com.
Okay.
And my Instagram, Alexi Turner, as well. And my YouTube channel is Celestial Empress.
Awesome.
And I'll start doing some videos about my program as well on YouTube, so you can find some more information there.
That is great. Yeah. I really, really appreciate your time so
thank
much.
you.
I cannot wait to see what you have in store for the future, because like I said, I've been following your journey for a couple years now. It's crazy, like the way social media works, but I love it. It connects me to people like you, and I'm excited for what you have in store.
We've been connected for so long, and it's so fun to finally meet you in person.
I always say it's like a blind date when you meet someone, because you do see them online and then you meet in person for the first time, and I'm just happy that you are as nice as you seem online.
Oh, thank you so much. It was so nice to meet you, and I'm so excited to see what your channel does, and I should have you on my channel absolutely to do a reading.
Would love to. Yes. Well, thank you.
Yes, thank you so much.
And thank you for bringing me to this beautiful place.
The Waldorf is
lovely.
How can you not love it? The view is amazing. The food, everything's beautiful.
Awesome.
Yes.
And that's a wrap. Cool. Yay. Awesome. You're great. Cool. Oh my God. I love you.
Yeah, I love you too. Thank you.